Welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with your host, Emmett Muckles. Please visit iTunes, Stitcher, or emmettmuckles.com to listen to all the episodes for free.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast with Emmett Muckles. Today is the day the Lord has gave you, so rejoice in this moment and be glad. Yesterday is gone, tomorrow's not here. Now I'm going to show you a superpower that all humans have. We can predict the future. And you're like, huh? And I'm going to tell it to you again. We can predict the future. And here is how it happens. You use your imagination. That's the energy that you put into your thought is imagination. So you can imagine yourself somewhere else tomorrow and be that in the next day. Told you, you can see the future. Let's move on. Today, my guest is W.T. Hamilton. He is the creator of the world's first one-chapter book series. Yes, I said uno. One-chapter book series, helping driven entrepreneurs solve business problems one chapter at a time. He is a business consultant, author, and speaker based in London, Ontario, Canada. What's up, WT?
Hey, how are you doing today?
I'm doing
excited
good.
to be here.
I love your backdrop, dude. That's awesome.
Thanks. It's actually a window. You know, with the whole COVID thing, I get kicked out of my office.
Well, you know, it's like that. And, you know, like today I have to go out because of this position. I cover most of the East Coast. So I'm responsible for a lot of people and I have to check up on them. And I'm masked up, but still, you become a hypochondriac. So if you get a small sniffle like we do in the springtime, you think, oh man, the end is near. But let's talk about this one chapter book because, you know, that's help me understand the concept. If we're in the elevator and we're going to a conference and I see your little badge and it says WT and I go, what's up, WT? And I go, what do you do? And you say, I write one chapter books, and I'll look at you like, huh?
Yeah.
And you reply with, and I'll say, what's a one chapter book?
So basically, it's a book that only has one chapter long, solving one business problem at a time. And the reason that I started doing that is when I was doing a lot of business and marketing stuff, and I'd run into a problem, I'd read one of the books. I'd have to read like 15 chapters of things that had nothing to do with what I needed.
Yeah.
Find the one chapter that had that solution that I could read and then jump into action. So I said to myself, why doesn't anybody write one chapter book? And then I realized, you know, your ideas find you for a reason. So I had to do it because nobody else, I looked around, nobody else was doing it. I said, okay, I got to take action on this and start creating one chapter books for entrepreneurs.
So when you came up with this idea, I know you ran across some people. You were like, look, hey, bro, I'm going to write a one chapter book. What was your response?
So first of all, people would say to me, oh man, that sounds really cool with their face. With their voice, but with their face, they'd be looking like, oh man, you're crazy. One chapter book. Why would anybody buy that? Right.
Right.
So that was a big challenge, is just to learn how to market that and how to educate people on what the benefit is. And, you know, it's not just a book, but it's going to give you solutions. And mine are all based on using mindset in business and, using some heart-centered ideas to create those business momentums that you need to get over those hurdles.
So tell me about your journey, dude. What brought you to now?
So I started writing books with my mom about the law of attraction, and she's very spiritual,
yeah,
and I'm a logical thinker. So the spiritual side of it wasn't really vibing with me. And then what would happen is, you know, we'd have these discussions, and I was like, I'm all into action because my background is sales. I come from corporate and doing sales and doing business management. So I'm all about, okay, here's a problem. What's the solution and how do we put it into action? So when I started to really kind of get into that and started trying to marry personal development with business, people would ask me for books and solutions, and I didn't have any. All my books were just for personal development.
Right.
So that's what led me to wanting to help entrepreneurs really understand how to solve problems, create solutions, and do it in an authentic way that feels good in their heart, and it still has the personal development to it.
Yep.
And getting business done at the same time.
Now, you explained this because you started with your mom, and you said, I'm a very process-driven, let's look at it, analyze the problem, let's see if we can pull a solution out of this and then act. That's a very male thing. We see the problem and we see the solution. We have to see them together. But the law of attraction, how you brought that in from your mom's point of view, that's a very feminine trait, which is now you're starting to bring in the intuition, because I kind of gather that from these one chapter, people are going to have to use how it resonates with them. They're going to have to find their intuition and bring it in with them. So, I commend you on bringing the yin and the yang together in that whole scenario. But what was the biggest hurdle you faced when you were really starting this book series?
So the biggest hurdle is two things. So one was just figuring out how to really get it out there and get people to take it seriously. And then the second part was because I was breaking off so I didn't want it to be heavy personal development or law of attraction. And it was trying to find my authenticity in it.
Yeah.
And so at first I was a little bit over the top with the way that I was doing things. I had to really regroup after the first year and look at, okay, what have I learned? What are the lessons, and how can I fine tune this and make it a little bit more serious, but with still keeping my personality, which is really a fun and excitement orientated personality.
Yep.
How do I marry that with my spirituality type of side of things?
So who did you give it to? Who are the people that you gave it to that gave you the best advice on how to proceed with your book?
So I didn't give it to anybody. I wrote it, and I didn't want anybody to influence me in my vision. So I wrote it, I put it out there, and I went to different places where I could get some unbiased reviews.
Yep.
And I was able to, just through the process of how I do things, to detach the review from the emotions and look at, okay, this is what they're telling me. And everything that they're telling me, they would say, oh, it's a great book, but, oh, I really like this, but. And all those buts were how to make it better.
Yeah.
And it was kind of like, preparing me to write a better book each time. So
I like how
that
you
was
said
my
that.
process.
I like really how you said you stepped away from the emotional part, because you know what? One of the things that limits us, but makes us great, are emotions. But sometimes we attach them to things that don't need the emotion attached to them. It's just information for you to move forward. So that was pretty awesome. And I've been talking with people about look at it for what it is. Take out how you feel and just look at it for what it is, especially in business, because a lot of times you see in entrepreneurs, you see them get caught up in their feelings.
Yeah, exactly.
This is a great product. No, we're telling you it's not. But here's what can make it a great product. And if they would only listen, and take their feelings out, you're hurting my feelings with it, it would be a really great thing. So, you've gone through, you've done some consulting, you've done some speaking. So, what's really stopping people from pursuing their dreams like you have?
So there's a couple of things, and it depends on the stage you're at. But the biggest thing at the very beginning is, they want to win, and they don't want to lose. And when you look at every person that's winning, they started out as a loser first. And the only way they started to win is by learning, right? Learning and succeeding. So I never look at anything as a failure. For me, it's either I learned or I succeeded. And usually it's a degree of success with some learning that needs to be done. So difference between, say, how I look at things a traditional, say, law of attraction person, they're all about divine timing. But I look at things as divine preparation. So here's the big goal I want to reach. And then these struggles and things that come at me, that's divine preparation, saying, okay, you want to do this, you want to make $200,000 a year. You don't have $200,000 a year skills. So here's the things you got to learn to be able to get to those skills before you can make that money.
Man, say that again. Say that again. Because I run across so many people with these lofty dreams, but I'm like, what are you bringing to the table to represent that? Because I've been a business owner myself. And as a business, when I started my business, people literally laughed at me. They're like, that's not you. I was like, watch.
Yeah.
And I literally started off at the low budget end.
Yeah.
And then one brick at a time, built it up. Next thing you know, people are like, wow, you're doing big things. I'm like, yeah, but I'm tired of it. I'm moving on to something else. But that's how it has to be. When you are going through this and looking back, what has helped you the most in pursuing building your business?
So there's two things that really helped me the most. One was just believing in myself, even though nobody else believed in me, and learning how to actually do it beyond words, like to really feel that confidence and build up that mindset that, hey, I can do this. And all I have to really do is, like I said, build up better skills, better habits, get better attitudes to drive me there. But the other thing that really helped me was just stop caring about what other people think. Stop caring about their opinions, or, people would say to me, like, I'd go speak at events and someone would say to me, well, how much money did you make? Like, well, I wasn't going there to make money directly at that event. I'm going there to plant seeds, to build relationships so that I can make money down the road. Right. And that is something that once you start to understand, okay, this is the way I see my success, and I don't care what other people think. This is my plan, and this is what I'm going to do. And I believe in myself. Those were the two things that really fueled my growth and got me to where I am right now.
Now, we're on Zoom, so he got a reaction out of me that he probably wasn't expecting. And the reason this happened is because he's the only other person that has mirrored a philosophy that I say. And I tell people all the time, don't expect to get your fruit where you plant your seed always.
Yeah, nice.
And they're like, what are you talking about? And I'm like, if you plant a seed and you're steady looking at the ground, and then one day an apple hits you in the top of the head, your fruit didn't come where you planted your seed. And then they're like, what? I'm like, you'll get it in a couple years. So
yeah, exactly.
Let's project out a little bit. Let's say 18 months. Let's say 18 months starting in November, because 2020 is a wrap. 18 months out from November coming up. What do you see yourself? What are you thinking in your head? Because, as human beings, like I said, we can predict the future. What are you predicting for the future for yourself?
So my goal is really to get my one chapter books to really start selling, in abundance, to be able to have that as, a strong series for myself, and to be speaking on stage, getting paid to speak on stage, and really just being in service of people, and just kind of scaling up.
Yep.
Really, I always want to do better than I did the year before. I always want to and do better in, not just in money, but do better in the amount of people I know, how I'm helping people, what I'm doing. So it's really just always moving forward and setting a bigger goal that I don't know if I can reach. So as long as I have a bigger goal I don't know if I can reach, I'm always excited to get up and do things.
What got you into what? First of all, what made you say I can write a book? Because a lot of people write books, but it's a process. It's not just writing the book. You got to know the science behind it, the art behind it. What was your driving force to say, I can do this?
So I don't know, you might laugh, you might not, but I looked at Jay-Z, and Jay-Z's kind of one of my heroes. And I said to myself, okay, wait a minute. This guy was a drug dealer. This guy had never finished. I don't think he finished high school, right? He didn't have a dad. He had every excuse to not go anywhere in life, but he decided, and he gave himself permission to do whatever he wants, whatever he believed that he can do. I said, if Jay-Z can do that, and I have way more background or abilities, I have way more access to things than he did when he was young. If he can do it, then what's my excuse?
Yep.
Right. So I just decided to give myself permission to do whatever I feel is my intuition and I feel is my purpose. And so what I look at is, if I get an idea, that was given to me for a reason. So I got to at least explore it and see what the possibilities of that idea could be. That's my ownership. And so that's how I do my everything.
How many books have you published? Because you got a lot of them on Amazon here.
Yeah, I think about 14.
Wow.
So far. Yeah.
Now I'm curious to know, for the Preneur series. So you got the Luckypreneur, you got the Lonelypreneur, you got the who does this artwork? Because it's pretty awesome. It's simple, awesome.
Yeah. So I have the concept in my head, and I hire people to graphic artists to do it. So there's a graphic artist I use for the same one for the first 4 or 5, and I think she got tired of doing stuff for me. So the last few I've just hired different people.
Now the one that gets me right out the start is a 1-chapter book, which is the $1 Million Idea. Where the bleep do I start?
Yeah.
See, that would get me. I would buy that just because you were ballsy enough to put that into the cover. So, yeah. Did you get any pushback from like people saying like, nah, you might not want to, I mean, that's literally how people talk in this day and age.
Yeah.
But we got this kind of like Puritan kind of, oh, you can't say that. Why not? What made you come up with that title? So
at that time when I did that, I really wanted to just shock people, grab their attention, because I wanted to show up and just kind of own my space, own my place, and be present in the moment. And so I said, this is what I want to do, and I don't care who likes it and who doesn't like it. The people that need to read this book, they're going to be attracted to it, and they're going to resonate with it. And the people that don't need to read that book, it's not their kind of brand, it's not their kind of style, they don't need to read that book. That's not my problem. That's their problem. So I just focus on who am I trying to serve and how best can I serve them.
Now, your typical 1-chapter books, how many pages are they?
So at the beginning, they were probably around 50, 60 pages. The last few that I've done, I've tried to, so what I've also tried to do is get a little bit more professional and serious with the way that I'm doing them, and give a little bit more meat and potatoes in the books. So the last 2 that I've done, they're around 160 pages.
Wow. And that's 1 chapter.
Yeah. So the chapter itself is probably around 100 pages. And then I have like the bio. I have, I do like Marvel Comics.
Yeah.
Where at the end of the movie, there's a little extra part of the movie. So there's always an extra piece of the story after the story's already finished. They do that kind of stuff just to keep it interesting. All
right. So we're gonna go. What gets you out of bed in the morning? Besides, for me, it's literally the sun. Like,
yeah.
What was that movie back in the 90s where the angels meet the sun because it sings to them? That's me.
Okay. Yeah. That's a good way to get up in the morning.
If it's light outside, it's a wrap. Like, yeah. I was up at like 4:50 this morning, like, come on. And I'm like a cat. I sit in the window looking out like, come on, son, I'm waiting for you.
Yeah. So really it's everyday things. So I always have like these goals. Some goals are big goals. It's going to take me the whole week to get to. some goals are just things I want to do that day. Like this podcast tonight, that was a goal I looked forward to. So I was excited even from last night when I went to bed. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be able to do this podcast and really enjoy myself. Right. So it's something different every day, but I always have either a mini goal, a big goal, or my giant goals, right? My giant goals are going to take me a year or two to do. So there are always things that I try to look forward to. So I live for today, and I always look forward to tomorrow. Tomorrow's not guaranteed, but I always look forward to tomorrow.
I mean, yeah, you got to. I mean, that's a must. Once you do that, it's a wrap. If you're not looking forward to tomorrow, forget about it. All right, 2 questions. What's your favorite song right now?
My favorite song, oh man! So I'm really feeling the Baby. So there's just a few songs from the Baby that I just every time I hear it's like I'm just bopping and enjoying myself. Yeah, I don't know, but then I listen to a lot of reggae music, so there's a lot of positive stuff.
Yeah, you are near Toronto.
Yeah,
buddy. Yeah, they canceled Caribana.
Yeah, I was shocked. I understand why, but still.
But you know, oh my Lord. And if there's a television program, you know, everybody binge watches during this particular time. You know, you can only work so much. Then you have to relax. What's the one visual program that you're into at the moment?
So that it jumps around. Like I love Killing Eve. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but it's just bonkers crazy. It's this female assassin, and then this.
I started watching that. I got into the first one. It moves a little slow at first.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
But it's in my repertoire, so I feel good about that now.
Yeah, but there's one that I discovered, and it's different, but it's called Peaky Blinders, and it's these gangsters from England in the 1918 to I think it goes through the Depression. Yeah. And it's just crazy. It's over the top crazy.
Yeah, I watched the first episode where they blew up someplace. And I was like, whoa. It's like pretty much. All right. So what's the next book coming? What's the one book that if I were in an elevator with you and I knew who you were, and I was like, what's the one book that you would tell me to read from you?
So there's 2 of them. The Harsh Truths is that's the latest one right now, and that's the one I won an award for. And it really dives into the harsh truths of running a business and the harsh truths that you're going to run into where you're not going to get support from the people that you love and how to deal with that, and full of mindset stuff. But because we're going through this whole COVID thing right now, is also the Lonelypreneur, because that's all about working from home, working from phone, and building up routines so that you can be productive and effective even though you're stuck inside your house all day.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, WT, I want to thank you for being on the Billionaire Lifestyle Podcast.
Yeah, it was a very, very big pleasure of mine. Really enjoyed it. Great questions.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you know how it ends. We are all billionaires. Yes, you are a billionaire. I'm a billionaire. She's a billionaire. He's a billionaire. Let's even get into the pronouns. They are a billionaire. We are a billionaire. Everyone on this planet who has a heartbeat, has conscious thought, is a billionaire. And it all started back at your conception, when a little tadpole thing swam up to a little globe thing, and the tadpole went inside the globe thing, and then the cosmic energy of the God body sprinkled it with the ability for them to start their dance. 2 became 4, 4 became 8, 8 became 16, onward for 30 days. Just within 30 days, it turned into over 1 billion cells. And you weren't even born yet. So before you got onto this planet, before you put your little feetses on the planet, you were a billionaire. Just in your gut flora is a universe of 1 trillion cells and microbes, and they all are there to serve you and you to serve them, because it is about the cells in your body which compose the self. Remember that. That's how special you are. But don't get the big head, because you're one of us. You're special in your own way, but so am I, and so is he, or they. We are part of the fractal. If you've ever seen a fractal, the deeper you go, the more similar it is. If you don't think I am right, I want you to go to the internet and look up nebulae. And then I want you to walk over to the mirror, get really close, look into your eyeball, your iris, and you will see that your iris looks like a nebulae in the sky. Fractal. Get even and step back a little bit from that. Look at that beautiful face and realize love starts with you, and say to yourself, I love you, which is yourself. Till next time, love you all. Peace.